station.
Gonna break, gonna learn to fly again. Maybe hard, but I'll do it. When I'm back on my feet again. Soon these tears will all be drying. We'll see the sun. Might take time, but I'll see it. When I'm back on my feet again. When I'm back on my feet again. I'll walk round down this street again. And they'll all look at me again. They'll see that I'm gonna hear the children laughing. Gonna hear the voices sing. Won't be long till I hear them. When I'm back on my feet again. I'm gonna feel shining down. It's light on me. One sweet day, I will be there. When I'm back on my feet again. When I'm back on my feet again. I'll walk round down the street again. And they'll all look at me again. And they'll see that I'm strong. And I'm not gonna cry again. I'll learn to stand tall again. I'm not gonna fall again. 'Cause I learned to be strong. Soon these tears will all be drying. Soon these eyes will see the sun. Won't be long till I see it. When I'm back on my feet again. I'll be back on my feet again.
Hi, welcome to our look back at the flood of the century. You know, Manitobans have really been through a lot since the spring of '97, and we're going to take you through every painstaking, heartbreaking step, from building dikes to pumping water to the cleanup. And you know, for many Manitobans, that fight still isn't over.
That's right, Barb. We found through all of it, it was the people that made the difference. Manitobans, indeed Canadians, from coast to coast lent a hand. Neighbors helping neighbors, friends helping friends, and thousands of people helping total strangers.
There was just so much water. What was it that made the spring of '97 so different from any other spring before or since? Well, our CKY5 news team and camera people were there to capture the fight. We witnessed and sometimes joined in the struggle. Come along with us now as we take you back to the flood of the century.
We could have, in the Red River Valley, the largest flood that we've had this century. Many of the communities, for example, with the assistance of the Emergency Measures Organization, have emergency preparedness plans.
Very upset with us.
It was a winter like we'd never seen before. 205 centimeters of snow blanketed southern Manitoba, 1.5 times the normal accumulation. But even more dramatic was the moisture equivalent of all that snow. 227.3 millimeters. That's more than double the average.
That was before the April blizzard. A surging spring snowstorm was bearing down on southern Manitoba and threatened to drop 20 to 30 centimeters of new snow. Flood forecasters braced themselves for the worst.
We had a lot of snow to start with, and we knew that we were going to have a significant flood in any event, so any precipitation really on top of that is not good news.
Still winding up, it's still becoming very intense, but we're beginning to see the first signs now of the heavy part of the storm coming toward us.
We thought we'd go late to Palm Springs and then winter would be over when we got home. But winter had just arrived last night.
We were pretty sure we were going to get some kind of a significant flood before. This certainly doesn't do us any good.
I remember 1966, and this is much worse than that.
When it finally ended, the storm had dropped 48 centimeters of snow on Winnipeg, and even more on some southern Manitoba communities.
In a matter of hours, the flood forecast changed dramatically, and the lives of hundreds of Manitobans were about to change forever.
We're looking at a severe flood situation. Our median forecast is for a flood above 1950 and 1979. Because of this upward revision in the forecast, the Department of Natural Resources will be raising the dikes in the valley towns by up to 2 feet to protect the towns.
Suddenly, whole towns were told their ring dikes may not be high enough. Homeowners who had never needed a dike at all were scrambling to find sandbags. And people who were already building dikes started building them higher.
We've got about the front by the riverside. We're supposed to go about 8 feet high and work back to the front of the house at about 3 to 4 feet high.
To meet the new requirement for 2.5 million bags, the city's production schedule will include the 2 sandbaggers 7 days a week.
We're getting about 23,000 just for my house alone.
You got to do what you got to do to protect your... I'm just thankful that my parents, my cousins come over and are helping me along.
Suddenly, sandbags were frozen in useless, lumpy piles.
They're like frozen turkeys. There's nothing you can do with them until they melt.
Helpless homeowners could only look at what was supposed to be their front line of defense and wonder if they would ever be able to finish building their dikes in time.
They're frozen solid, and we have no way of moving them. So what the city are doing now is trying to get enough bags out so people can at least get started this weekend.
All this snow meant people had to work faster. But because of the snow, things were moving slower. Forecasters' worst-case scenario was beginning to take shape.
Our major concern now is when is the snowpack in Manitoba going to melt? Is it going to, because timing is just so critical from now on. Is it going to coincide with the peak that's coming up from the United States?
South of the border, people were already in the heat of the battle. High water was beginning to threaten the tops of some dikes.
The effort. So we've done the best job we can do. And I guess I feel happy with that.
The 1979 flood, we'd be looking in excess of that if our predictions come true.
First thing that you want to do is you want to set 2 rows of sandbags parallel to the water. I'm doing the overlap method right here so that what I don't want is anything like this.
I can do it. I'm too old for that.
The spirit of Manitobans would be tested both physically and emotionally. But like it had so many times before, that spirit came through with flying colors. Long before the water came, there was a flood of volunteers.
It's hard because they're like 30 pounds and you just keep on going, you can't stop. I don't know, they think it's a waste of time or something, but really it's just helping out your community.
Many of them are my students. A lot of them wanted to actually
dike behind my house, and some of them did. It's really neat to see that the students are getting involved in a community effort like this, and I think a lot of them really enjoy being out here with the teachers. It's a really nice cooperative venture.
So I have nothing but good things to say about the students out here today.
It's been unbelievable. I didn't know we had so many friends.
Members of the United Multicultural Society aren't actually in Winnipeg to meet the mayor. They're here from Montreal to help with the emergency. The society was founded to promote ethnic unity in Canada, but for the past couple of days, its members are flood fighters.
We're just here to do what we can and to show the people of Manitoba that they are not alone.
An employee at a computer store has taken a leave of absence. An accountant has closed his business temporarily. His wife has left her secretary's job. Each has their own motivation, and all have given up their pay to help out.
You have people who lost everything. They have no insurance on their houses. You got half the province is underwater, you know, so you can't think about your pay at a time like this. We feel it's our duty and obligation as people and as proud Canadians to come and help out.
There were other struggles too, like trying to find one of these. A simple backflow valve for a sewer drain. Stores couldn't keep them in stock as people inside the floodway made their own flood preparations.
Before the water reached our border, water came up and all over their defenses.
Driven from their homes by the rapidly rising Red River, thousands of Grand Forks residents became a flood of evacuees at the Grand Forks Air Force Base. As the water took over more and more of the city, more and more people were convinced to leave their homes.
These are good Samaritans.
Red River High had served as an evacuation center until it too was shut down, ironically by a water shortage.
As we speak, we're closing up because of the water situation. The water plant has gone down and we're going to start to run out of water. It's not healthy, of course, so we're asking everybody to get out.
Bob Kulak is an associate principal here, but he was born in Winnipeg.
I was a young man in the 1950 flood, and I, of course, experienced all the floods ever since, and to me, this is the worst I've ever seen. I know this is the worst disaster the Grand Forks has ever had.
This is Chestnut Street, and ordinarily the river is 3 blocks that way. Now it too is a river with water 2 feet deep and debris like sandbags unused floating by.
Last night when I left my house, it was ankle deep. When I went out to get into my car, it was knee deep. And then when the person come to get me and my kids out of there, it was up to the mirror on the pickup.
They're throwing everything they've got at the flood, even the kitchen sink. But in so many areas, it's just not enough. Some pets have been left behind, while other people just refuse to leave. Grant Paranika moved here from Saskatchewan to play hockey for the Fighting Sioux. Now he's fighting the Red.
We had sandbags here last night and we had 2 semi-loads, so we weren't going to give up on that. We thought we'd at least put them down.
But life does go on. Kristen Kulzer and Michael DeSalich refused to let a little water dampen their wedding plans. While parts of Grand Forks feels like its life is ending, a young couple's is just beginning.
Suddenly, the flood seemed very real and very dangerous. Grand Forks was consumed, evacuated, and burning. The river and its menace was growing, and it was heading our way.
Grand Forks was certainly a very troubling sight for us all. But consider, 4 or 5 Grand Forks within our perimeter highway, we would have seen something like that.
It did happen here back in 1950, and that flood would prompt then Premier Duff Roblin to propose a water diversion called the floodway. It would steer the rising water around Winnipeg.
It was a tough sell, and there were certain elements in the general public that had their doubts too. So we had to make sure that we were working on a sound plan that was cost beneficial in every respect. In those days, it was a hell of a lot of money.
It may have been a tough sell, but anyone that lived through the flood of 1950 remembers the massive devastation.
Then we went right along Highway 75 from St. Jean to Morris, and we saw some stranded cars there. But you remember Walter Hamlin had the John Deere agency, and this is a General Motors dealership in Morris, and there was the bank at the corner. These were all flooded buildings.
And without the floodway, there was nothing to stop the water from doing the same thing to homes in Winnipeg. This is what Kingston Crescent looked like in 1950.
But look at the whole of the crescent is just water. Isn't that terrible?
Premier Duff robbed the future. His vision became the floodway.
Okay. Here we go. You can release now. Okay, the switches have activated the hydraulic system now, and we'll be raising the gates about 13, 14 feet. And raising the water level upstream by slightly less than 2 feet.
Maybe so, but without the floodway, the water would have been 3 meters deep at Portage in Maine.
How do you feel today?
I'm satisfied.
But not everyone has a floodway, and many towns along the Red River were already bracing for the high water.
Emerson was the first Manitoba town to face the red. Its residents were the first of 28,000 Manitobans forced to leave their homes because of high water or threat of high water. Gord LeClaire and Glenn Cassie were there.
High water is lapping at the very edge of the Canada Customs building in Emerson. It's now an island and cannot be used as a port of entry. Traffic has been diverted elsewhere, and emergency crews in town are hoping to do the same to the water. They've built up their dike, but didn't have time to make it high enough with mud, so the last few feet have been done with plywood. Bill Spanger is one of a handful of people who will stay behind and ride out the flood.
Everybody's been really working hard in the last 4 days, and you sort of like to see your efforts right through to the end. And the worst possible news would have been to say, you fellas, now that you've done all your work, you're gone, you're out of here.
From the air, the enormity of the river's reach takes on a new perspective. Near Saint Jean-Baptiste, it's clear that some people couldn't prepare fast enough. Ladders to the second floor provide the only way in or out of some houses, and equipment deemed important enough to save and light enough to lift has been put on a barn roof. Highway 75 has virtually disappeared in several sections, and this is the view looking towards Winnipeg from the Emerson area. The quiet calm of the water's surface masks the danger and the turbulence it will create as it moves further north. But it will hit Emerson first, and the people who built up the dikes can only hope that they hold.
It's going to get a little scary when it reaches the bottom of those boards.
Who are you transporting right now?
Dion's and Benera.
They have fought the battle of the century, preparing for the flood of the century. From the air, Emerson is surrounded by the dark, murky waters of the Red River. The crest is expected this weekend, and with the dike extensions complete, the final 60 residents have been forced out.
This is a very emotional time.
40 essential personnel, including Deputy Mayor Larry Propp and his son, will stay behind. Propp's wife and daughter are going to Winkler.
The fewer people that are left in town to face that potential danger, the better off we are. And we certainly don't want to have anybody hurt through this process, so we're doing it right now before that potential may arise.
Dr. Ann Laban moved to Emerson a year ago from Newfoundland. Laban says they've done all they can do.
The dike's built up, everything that's done, can be done, has been done, and we're kind of glad we're going to get out of here so we don't have to be sitting around worrying about it anymore. I mean, the material things, well, they'll come or they'll go, but, people are what really matters.
The military is escorting the final evacuees out of the town of Emerson. Those who will remain will work in groups of 12 to man the dikes.
The No. 1 Combat Engineer Corps will help transport the crews in and out, but their first priority is dike patrols and emergency evacuation.
We are conducting reconnaissance patrols around the south side of Emerson on the Canadian-American border to basically find out if we can get personnel out from the west side as well as the east.
It was the largest deployment of Canadian troops since the Korean War. Thousands of men and women descended on southern Manitoba. Some were from Manitoba. Others had never been here before, but it didn't matter. They had a job to do, and they were glad to help. Soldiers that had traveled all over the globe, keeping the peace, were now protecting Canadian soil.
They're rolling across southern Manitoba. The military is arriving fully equipped to help weary Manitobans who've been preparing for what might be the worst flooding of this century. More than 100 troops are setting up in St. Adolphe, just outside of Winnipeg. They're setting up shop and they know they've got tough slogging ahead of them.
Their main job is going to be operating the sandbagging machine, and hopefully we'll be able to do it about 16 to 20 hours a day for the next couple of days to provide a couple 100,000 sandbags.
It's my tuxedo.
The troops came prepared for the worst and they're raring to get started.
Night and day, we'll work night and day. We're really excited and we're really looking forward to being out and helping out.
Folks like these are just the people the military is here to help.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that are going to need them.
The Johnstons are just outside St. Adolphe's Ring Dike. They feel a whole lot better knowing the troops are here if they need them.
Well, we might, yeah. It hasn't started coming up here yet, but it came up fast last year.
These soldiers are only assigned to be here for 2 days, but they're already predicting they'll likely be here a lot longer.
This was also a chance to erase past controversy and clean up their image. At times, it seemed their image was the only thing that stayed clean.
We were called in this afternoon to fix this up here, but yesterday we worked from 3 o'clock to 1 in the morning.
I think about home and say, hey, these guys are in a lot worse than we are, so we just go on and go.
It is a war zone. To us, we're handling it like we would handle any hostile situation. We're treating it like a war.
You're on alert, you go out, you respond to tasks and you perform them. I mean, this is our job, this is part of it right here.
There's always the danger that the dikes will, the sandbags will collapse.
It's a cold job, and these soldiers are already starting with a disadvantage. They're building this dike even though the floodwaters are lapping up to the floorboards of this house. But it's all they can do. They weren't able to get to this home before the flood, so they've had to work in rather than against the water. They admit it's not the easiest way to build a dike.
Because you can't see exactly where you're placing the sandbags, so it's certainly very difficult.
For the most part, though, people living along Netley Creek are sandbagged and ready for any advance in the floodwaters. The only question mark that remains is this wind whipping in from the lake. It's a north wind, exactly what people along Netley Creek were not hoping for. When that happens, water from the lake backs up and raises the water level.
It can come up 3 feet and go down 3 feet in half an hour.
Just because of the wind?
Just because of the wind, yeah.
The water level's been rising all day at Netley Creek, but there may be a silver lining. If the wind pushes back the water, it may also push back ice still on the lake and stop more water from coming down.
It'll stop whatever is beyond the ice from coming down. It's like a buffer, right?
To cause any serious problems, the wind has to last 24 to 48 hours. An evacuation plan is in place. About 500 people could be moved from their homes.
They paid a price, too. One soldier's eye was injured while changing a tire, and Corporal Frank Gay lost his hands when he touched a live hydro wire.
We came through yesterday with a backhoe, or excuse me, 2 days ago with a backhoe, and it was halfway up the wheel's end, so I hope we're high enough. We are according to the forecasted level right now, but we'll see what happens in the next little while, if it goes up, down, or otherwise. But I guess the thing was better safe than sorry. We brought in a backhoe, and we had him trench all the earth up and pile it and pack it as he was piling it. And then we took some polyurethane and wrapped it around the outside, sandbagged it down, and hopefully, Glenn, that'll do her. I'd like to stay at least as long as, until such time that the water's hitting the dike, and make sure the dike holds. If there's any, weak spots, I can quickly sandbag them. And I've got the boat, so I don't really feel threatened. I can get out of here easy enough.
Hi there. Hi. Still dry behind the dike?
Yeah, I think we're going to win this battle.
People outside the ring dikes had to fend for themselves. They did it in different ways, and as Gord Leclerc shows you, they did it with different degrees of success.
Well, I'm sure glad we brought him home anyway. He would have died out there.
These two newborn calves are the reason Candace Jorgensen and her husband haven't evacuated their farm just east of Morris. Meet Stormy and Sicky, names that reflect the circumstances surrounding their birth. But it's another act of nature surrounding Wayne Jorgensen's barn that has him baffled.
It's something that a person just doesn't fathom. They can't imagine it.
Wayne never imagined this either. 30 egg-laying hens floating on bales 3 feet off the barn floor. The ducks don't seem to mind, nor do the dogs for that matter.
We had a really pretty yard, but this is a mess. This is something else to clean up, let me tell you. Oh, just a disaster.
Last year, the Jorgensens could drive right up their laneway. In '79, the water was at the base of that flagpole. This year, as you can see, the murky, cold waters of the Red reach right up to their farmhouse. The Jorgensen's 70 head of cattle are high and dry near St. Malo. Wayne's only concern now is seeding his 1,400 acres.
I guess if we're going to be doing any seeding this year, we'll have to get things in shape and probably, hopefully, be in the field in the first week in June. So there's going to be a fair bit happening between now and then.
Work like maintaining the 3 pumps that keep the house dry.
Our dike has been holding up well, and we just watch the pumps and keep everything going around here, and so far so good. But you just take it one day at a time, eh?
You know, throughout our flood coverage, we must have talked to hundreds of people all across southern Manitoba, but some of them really stand out in our memory because, well, they were simply unforgettable.
I try to take as much responsibility as I can. My dad didn't have the energy or the patience to even start looking at it. So he said if I want to save it, I can save it. On the Sunday of the crest, we had a look at it, and the bags in the bottom actually started, or else it would have went under. I'll catch up on my schoolwork later. This is more important right
now. Grand Point, a tiny community just south of the floodway, unprotected by anything but the dikes around their homes. Time after time, they were told to build higher. May 5th saw homeowners desperately hanging on. But on May 6th, the winds picked up and the situation became simply desperate. Water washed over Highway 59, and at noon, it was closed.
It was obvious flying over. There are white caps or brown caps on that water, and they're splashing up against the ring dikes.
Residents had never seen the water get so high. Later, a review would suggest that forecasters never anticipated water from the Red River even reaching Grand Point until it was too late.
It's looking at.
It's heartbreaking.
Wow. It's not good, but what can you do now?
My dike was high enough a day ago, but overnight has gone up at least 6 inches.
And in Grand Point, the water is still rising. Elmer Highwarren is waging the fight of his life. In some spots, the only thing keeping the Red River out of his basement is a sheet of plastic. He would have built his dike higher, but he couldn't get enough sandbags from the municipality.
Yeah, 35 cents a bag when we asked for them originally.
Okay, we're going to come over with this one
now. And if they got wet, then we would be reimbursed by the municipality.
But for every home in this area that's just hanging on, there's another that didn't. In a matter of minutes, Gord Fraser went from holding his own to losing everything.
The river won. Take whatever you can, give them to somebody else who can use them. Yeah.
The fight is painstakingly slow. Volunteers load as many bags as they can into boats, sometimes more than is safe, and ferry them to people who are just barely keeping their heads and their houses above water. At Dave Flood's house, yes, that's his name, they wonder why the province doesn't open up a ditch to drain off some of this water into the floodway. The province says it's not that simple, and it won't.
So they're basically flooding this area in favor of not putting more water into the floodway.
The river may have crested in Winnipeg, but that's of little comfort to the people of Grand Point. They're still working frantically to save their homes.
It's too devastating to figure out what to think.
Never thought this would happen.
You can't cry about it. I tried, but might as well laugh about it. There's nothing, what can I do? Nothing I can do now.
Mother Nature has played a cruel trick on Reno and Lisa Tomasi.
She's wicked. It came up at least another foot and a half since yesterday when I left.
This is their street. This is what remains of their 3-foot dike.
It wasn't high enough. It was working fine until the water came over top of it.
Some of the Tomasi's neighbors still have homes to save. They're racing against time, loading sandbags into boats in a frantic final effort.
I didn't think it could happen. Seeing is different than being there.
Everything they own, worked for and dreamt about, is under 5 feet of icy, muddy water.
Where do you go from here? I don't know. Try and fix it, I guess.
Wait until it recedes and then start cleaning up.
Two young boys were playing in the water or in the water. The current is very strong and they got caught up in the current. One was able to grab hold of the manhole entrance and fire crews were able to pull him free, but one boy entered the system.
This horrible accident prompted a call to children to stay away from the storm sewers, and Young's father to call for every sewer lid in the city to be properly secured.
We have two priorities. The first one is to get him out of there, and the second is that this never happens again. We are having a crisis as far as this flood, and let's do something about it. Sandbag, build dikes, help everybody out. We're going to have enough water. Let's not have any more tears.
Winnipeggers have for decades felt very protected inside the floodway. But 1997 was different. There was so much water heading north, someone realized the city had a back door and it was unlocked. What engineers did to protect against that threat was nothing short of a construction miracle.
Scores of troops and 300 pieces of heavy equipment are working around the clock in a bid to short-circuit Mother Nature.
A lot of oomph, I should say. They're very keen. We're eager to participate, and we're doing everything we can, as with everyone else in southern Manitoba right now.
The Brunkhill bunker will be about 40 kilometers long when it's complete. Officials say the work is right on schedule and everyone is confident the dike will hold.
Best projections are that this is a good safeguard and indeed it will.
Everyone from Brunker, hundreds of pieces of heavy equipment are working or flooding Morris River from emptying into the LaSalle and flowing right into the Red River. Into the Red and right through the city of Winnipeg. Dike builders here say the Z dike will hold.
As long as the water doesn't come too fast, like it's coming up and we're kind of trying to stay ahead of it, So I think we'll lick it. I feel quite confident we got her beat.
And just to be sure it holds, hundreds of derelict vehicles are being stacked along Highway 305. They're an additional barrier between the water and the Brunk-Hill bunker.
All these derelict vehicles are not really a dike. Officials hope that when the water hits them, they'll act like a breakwater and stop the waves from hitting the dike.
Dike builders say it will definitely help to reduce the stress on the earth dike.
If it breaks, it won't break anywhere where these rubbers were going, and then the hose put on the top, and they were running over that with big heavy equipment, so I don't have a doubt in hell that this is going to be safe as anything.
They've also added 50,000 flax bales to the derelict vehicle breakwater. Engineers say this structure will take a lot of pressure away from the dike itself. Engineers continue to insist the Z dike will hold back the floodwaters, but the city of Winnipeg isn't taking any chances. Crews are working around the clock to build a secondary line of defense, the St. Norbert Dike, a 2-mile ridge ranging from 3 to 8 feet high.
From Pembina, down Des Trappist, down Waverly, and across the field to tie into the Brady landfill.
Dike builders say even if there is a breach in the Z dike, Winnipeggers shouldn't worry. The St. Norbert Dike will hold.
We're removing the frost, and it's all good clay going in there. Should have no problems.
So you're saying it'll hold?
It'll hold.
Now, if there's a breach in the Brunk-Hill bunker and the St. Norbert Dike can't hold back all the floodwaters, this is the last line of defense for the city against that rising tide, Winnipeg's Perimeter Highway.
Crews are blocking 4 openings along the perimeter from Waverly to the Red River. They're plugging culverts, blocking a railway crossing, and preparing to dike across Pembina at the overpass.
We'll try to make that crossing, leave it open so traffic can get across it. Limited traffic, of course, because the area has been evacuated. So if we need to get any kind of vehicles into St. Norbert area, we'll be able to get across that dike.
As a matter of fact, officials in this area are so confident the Brunk-Hill bunker will hold, they're getting ready to allow people who live immediately north of the dike to return home.
We feel the threat is minimizing, and we hope to bring them back in the next day or two.
But even then, they're not in the clear. When residents of Domain and LaSalle return home, they will remain on evacuation alert until floodwaters drop significantly.
Contrary to everybody's statements, the dike is not going to fall down. There's not going to breach. It's going to take bulldozers to knock it down.
What I saw was scary. A wall of water coming from the west side across the railroad tracks into Highway 75.
I heard that noise. I jumped out of bed. I went to the door, and all the guy says is, "Put up your pants." He says, "Get out." He says, "The water's coming 2 feet high at a time."
Like many towns, St. Agathe had built up its dike. Most of its residents had moved. They thought they were ready. But in the middle of the night, the water broke through their defenses. St. Agathe, we were the first television station to go back in to see the damage.
What happened here, I would say, is a flash flood. We had everything under control with our diking on the river. We were just about done, touch-ups to be done today. All of a sudden at midnight, my son went to check 75 highway over there. Water was coming across. It was shooting across 75 highway over here and to the south. And then a wave was coming down the south end of Main Street, right at the other end, about 2 to 3 feet high.
It's not a pretty sight. A lot of hard work went in there, and we lost basically the battle.
I think there will be a lot of sorry people when they see what I'm seeing here today. There'll be broken hearts, I'm sure.
The foundation sunk front and back. Basement's basically flooded still. There's a smell of the river through the house.
Jeannot Robert wanted a first-hand and close-up look at the devastation in his hometown of St. Agathe. He was one of the last ones to be evacuated before the floodwaters swept through the town. He saw the wall of water as he scrambled to escape, and now he could see where that wall hit. Jeannot heard the sound of dogs barking. When he finally got in this home, he found 2 dogs, now without food and water.
Here, Big Air will give you more hope, man, as he turns that guy.
There we go. Jeannot also wanted to look at his own home.
Furniture was up. We saved a lot of homes, but I didn't save mine.
And the only thing you can do with it is tear it down. Tear it down and start over.
School in Saint-Agathe is tout fini.
Rip out, repair, replace. The only 3 R's at the town's only school. The church towering over the town suffered the same fate as the homes it shadows. The basement is destroyed, pews are plastered with clay, and even the manger hasn't escaped the wrath of Mother Nature.
The area was so hard hit, it was added to Prince Philip's tour when he came to see the effects of the flood for himself.
It's terrible, and we've been evacuated since April.
We've been out of our house for 2 months now, and 2 small children, and my youngest one hasn't even been at home for half his life. He's been more at grandma's than at my house, so I hope it will remind people that there's still a lot of help that needs to be had.
We're going to start our aerial tour today right over the Grand Point area where there's still a handful of homes that are being worked on. Many of these homes have been flooded totally. There are about 150 homes in this area, and I believe 125 have already been flooded. Work still continues, sandbagging, putting sandbags on boats and taking them across to the homes that are still being worked on. So there's still quite a good fight here in Grand Point. And it's nice to see some people still have a good sense of humor. There's a house down across the river now. You can see the residential area in St. Norbert. Things are looking okay there, nice and dry. Looks like pretty good news out of the St. Norbert area. As we head further south, we get into more floodwaters, of course. One of the more amazing shots that you see when you're up here is the immense amount of water. We'll start this way, we'll pan the camera to the right, and you'll just see nothing but water. Where we are right now is right over the floodway gates. As you look across southern Manitoba, it is a sea of water. So here's an example of a successful dike. You can see the water on the outside and all the reinforcement on the inside. Now what we're going to show you is an example of a dike that didn't hold. This is on St. Mary's Road, just south of the city. And you can see the dike is there, but there's water right up against the house. Here's the Kingston Row area, and here's a straight down look at the flood fight here. I can tell you that the dikes here, with careful monitoring on a 24-hour basis, are holding up just fine. So there's a good view of the Kingston Row area. This is one of the longer dikes in the city. We'll have a look now at the dike along Scotia Street. And you can see that most of the work is done now. It's just a case of monitoring and plugging the small leaks that can be expected. This water will probably be sitting up against this dike for the next several weeks.
Thousands of people were kept out of their houses for weeks. Others lost their entire homes. Donations poured in from across the country. They came from church groups, businesses, and people who dug into their own pockets to help. There were fundraisers too, some big, some small.
The money gained from this portion of the project directly from the sale of the sandbags and the t-shirts. As soon as $1,000 is accumulated, another check goes out to another family. And so it turns over really quickly.
Oh, I'm calling on my baby, telling her I'm coming home.
They're called 4th Avenue, and they're raising money for those people who can't go home.
We call it Flood Jam 97, Friends for Flood Relief. If I can't help sandbag, at least I can help maybe by helping, sing and maybe raising some money.
For Denise Barr, the flood fight strikes a chord. Her sister's home near St. Adolphe was swallowed by the rising red last week.
It's a tragedy, yeah. And there's still a mess to clean up, we're not over yet. It's far from over.
This benefit concert has humble beginnings. The idea was conceived when Jocelyn Thorvaldson saw the devastation in Grand Forks.
I was watching the fires and just the devastation that was there, and I thought to myself, there's got to be something that we can do.
This is the result. 4 local bands, 300 people, and a lot of money raised for the flood relief effort.
We're hoping to raise between about $3,000 and $5,000. With the turnout tonight, that looks entirely possible.
It's packed house, standing room only already.
The musicians aren't getting paid. They volunteered their voices and talent to help restore harmony in Manitoba.
Thank you very much.
sandbagging. The people that can't sandbag, you know, feel the need to do something, and things like this, or making sandwiches, or doing anything else, is a way for them to contribute.
You can have your salad and dessert.
My wife told me to come here. And if I wouldn't come, she would hurt me. No.
My wife told me I had to come out.
Winnipeg entertainer and musician Tom Jackson took up the cause too. He raised thousands of dollars from a televised concert with the help of entertainers from Winnipeg and all across the country. Over and over again, people gave what they could, even if it was just their time.
You can't miss us. We're the only home with two semi-trailers in front of it.
The semis are outside the command center for Operation Knee Deep. Inside, Grace Shuchuk is coordinating activities with the help of her right-hand woman, Sue Thompson.
This is the lady that I called.
Shuchuk is an unemployed wife and mother who created Operation Knee Deep. She's also a serious diabetic, so she limits herself to 20-hour days.
And I do get very tired by midnight when I start writing out my faxes and going into my computer to track what I've done for the day. It gets pretty mind-boggling.
With food stacked in the kitchen, bedding and clothing in the trailers, Grace is now taking Knee Deep into the malls.
Obviously, it was becoming a problem having families that needed articles of clothing and all kinds of things to have them have to get into the back of a 48-foot semi-trailer.
We heard that she needed more space, and we had the space available, and thought, why not? You know, we'd like to do what we can to help the people of Winnipeg and the evacuees. So we phoned up Grace, and within a day, she had set up operations here at Unicity Mall.
Flood evacuees need only to show up with their Red Cross registration papers. After that, everything is free.
I'm kind of short on clothes, and I got most of my clothes out, but there's still a lot that I've got hanging up, and you can't take everything all at once.
My first concern is to make sure that any evacuee families their needs are all being met. They get everything that they need.
People are urged to drop off donations at the Grant Park location. It doesn't actually open until Friday, but some evacuees did take advantage of the early bird toy specials today.
As of next week, we'll have one in St. Vital Shopping Center also.
Grace may be the world's fastest entrepreneur. Her volunteer workforce can't even be counted. 2 trucks aren't enough, and now she's opening a chain of stores.
That is what it's all about. It's just saying, I was able to help these people. They now have clothes for their kids. They have food to eat. They have a place to stay. And that's the whole point of this entire operation.
I'm asking the people of Canada to go to vote because we're well advanced in the 4th years of the mandate.
I think he's forgotten about Manitobans. We're in a crisis situation here. We don't need the vote right now.
No, we have to get rid of this problem that we've got, you know.
Okay, what do you guys think about the election being called?
I think it's stupid. It's crazy. It's too early.
We have better things to do with our time right now.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of people worrying a lot more about their basements than who forms the next government.
Canada's chief electoral officer, Jean-Pierre Kingsley, came to Manitoba to survey the damage firsthand. But despite concerns about Manitobans missing the vote, he decided the election would go ahead.
It is not impracticable to hold a general election in any riding in Manitoba.
It's a decision Jean-Pierre Kingsley says is based on a number of consultations and a guided tour of the flood zone. But those who are still sandbagging, and many who've already lost their homes, say they feel disappointed and forgotten.
There's a lot of anxiety, particularly for people who have been evacuated.
And many doubt party candidates will be able to conduct a proper or an effective campaign.
People in Manitoba need to worry about saving homes, and I feel sorry for the guys who are running. It's a lose-lose situation.
Today I went to school. I went to a school for evacuees. It was a little room with lots of books. It was very hot. The guy from CKY came here and taped us.
It's a little less rustic than the one-room schoolhouse their grandparents went to, but for these students from kindergarten to grade 6, at least they didn't have to walk 5 miles to get there, and there's no strap and no detention.
There was a flood, so I couldn't go to another school, so I had to come here.
31 families from Morris and Rosenort were evacuated to a seniors' high-rise in Winnipeg. With 4 teachers and 35 students among them, Wendy Newman decided a school was just what was needed.
We could have suggested that they be put into a school in the city, but kids really have a hard time adjusting, especially when all the traumatic things of the last week have happened in their lives already, that here they are sitting with some of their own schoolmates and they really feel more comfortable with that.
The kids are in class for 2 hours a day. Each had work assigned before the evacuation and will get through it with the help of the volunteer teachers.
I have felt helpless. Because I was evacuated, I couldn't do anything there anymore, so I wanted to do something here. I have been sandbagging a lot, and then when this opportunity came, I decided that I would give these people a hand.
We thought, what's the way that we could help out our parents? What's a way that we could help them when they've been uprooted from their homes, and at the same time let the kids have some semblance of order in their lives?
What did you think when they told you that you were going to have school?
I didn't really like it.
It's a predictable reaction. However, there are some who are barely old enough to understand why they're here.
My dad, he has his boat, and he goes out to my cousin on his boat.
To save your cousin?
And Third Bear.
It's unsettling for some, maybe exciting for others, but in true Manitoba spirit, student and teachers alike are making the best of it in their little schoolhouse on the prairie.
For 6 weeks, the floodway steered water around Winnipeg. All the while, a new lake was growing larger, covering more and more of southern Manitoba. Like a hungry monster, it consumed everything that wasn't protected. At its peak, it covered 750 square miles.
Water level came up to right around here, right at the top of the fireplace, all the way around through the whole house. All the mud flowing off of that. All these are glass tables and cupboards. We got it all up, and then once with the top, so then we just left.
It's very depressing. Well, I'm pretty upset and worried, wondering what we're going to do and how we're going to fix things. I don't know.
Well, she wants to come home because it's home. And I gotta keep telling her that we ain't gonna be back.
See the amount of moisture that's in there. You see the swelling that's taking place in the material here? That's as a result of water here. So the whole kitchen's gotta be gutted. You got a house, but you no longer have a home. It's only the bottom 14 inches that got wet, but it's wasted, okay? This was all under? We just finished the rec room in January. I would like to see the Gary Filmans of the world see this side of the fence, not from the chopper perspective of everything. I mean, this is what you really see, and when people say, well, how can it be that much money? You know, this is how. This adversity builds character, and by the end of it all, we're going to see what kind of character we have here.
They're standing on top of the dike right now. They're going to boat to the door.
It's a victory for the swollen Red River and a blow for the residents who did everything possible to save their homes. One by one, they're returning to see the damage for themselves.
I didn't think it would hit me as hard as it did, and it just sort of like, a lump in my throat, and I just thought...
Anything left on the main floor, gone. Even the mice cling to anything that will keep them afloat.
Mark is feeding the mouse.
Crap is going to be so bad.
Never to be expected. Even when we made the dike, we're just... last year we made a dike, didn't even see water. This year, we're not wasting all this time and energy for it, but... it was a waste in the end, I guess, but we have to try. Eh?
Peter Senchak and his sister Arlene came out here today to videotape their parents' home, the home they grew up in. But the good memories are washed away in this unbelievable sea of filth. And for an elderly couple, the reality is sure to hit them hard.
A younger person can deal with it better, but at their age, where do you start over? It's not the age to start over, rebuilding and the expense.
Some of the neighboring homes are dry, but many others are pumping out water as fast as it's pouring in. The area has been evacuated with just the military on site to man the pumps and keep the area secure.
A driving rain greeted the people of Morris as they made one last trip through a checkpoint before returning to their homes and their lives.
We moved out the whole family, have we?
Yeah, the dog and all.
We are just thrilled to be back.
Jeanette Bergstresser seemed to sum up the mood of Morris.
It's a great feeling. Like I said, it's just such a great feeling to be home.
Her children couldn't agree more. 5-year-old Charlie was literally bouncing off the walls, and his sister Ricky Ann caught up with some games she left behind. Bergstresser seemed to be walking on air as she unloaded all the treasures she'd moved to her temporary home in Altona.
These are the most precious things, the pictures.
But thanks to the kindness of her hosts, she also came back with a new treasure, a handmade sign that says home is where the heart is.
It is going to be quite a keepsake. It made a bad experience quite livable, you know.
Although the town stayed dry, the water is still so high outside the dike, the only way to get to some houses is by boat.
Watch me drop all Grandma's crystal.
It's the little things people missed the most. Mike Hesford's family had barely settled into their new home when the evacuation order was issued. Until today, he'd never seen his front lawn without snow.
It's been taxing on all of us, the kids especially. They started this last week. Brett asked me last weekend, my oldest, what our new house looked like. He couldn't remember.
Morris is slowly returning to normal, but it's not over yet because, you see, there's still a very large reminder of the battle that was fought here, and things won't really return to normal until the dike comes down and Highway 75 reopens, and that's not likely to happen for several weeks.
Little Braden Ray looks out at the retention pond behind his babysitter's home. This is how high he thinks the water would come.
You think you'd be able to come back out if the water was that high on you?
Same neighborhood that people left 10 days ago. Not only do residents here have to worry about high, swift water on the river, but retention ponds as well.
If I was told I could move back into this neighborhood and had a house on this retention pond, I would hold off.
If you had kids?
Yes.
The water is cold and hypothermia would set in quickly. Children especially would have no chance.
I'm probably not going to be going out the gate at all, because if I get too close, I might fall in.
The rules haven't changed a lot, but the kids know they're not allowed out the gate at all now that the water's this high. They would like to go exploring, but I told them no.
Dikes can be dangerous as well, especially when they're wet. Even though for children they look like fun to climb, they could fall off just as easily.
When these dikes are wet, they are very slippery. They're almost. You also got to keep in mind that you may slip down the other side. Also, there's a possibility of erosion. And
for some people, going home meant a return to their regular routine. But for other people, those in the hardest hit areas, there was simply no home to return to. The floodwaters had washed away everything but their memories. And even if the homes could be saved, the cleanup wasn't going to be easy.
As floodwaters recede, the relief of returning home, many homes across southern Manitoba are filled with filthy river water. The first step is to get rid of all the water and all the soaked materials and debris left behind.
Mattresses, upholstery, bedding, throw it out.
The province's chief medical officer of health says it's important not to take any shortcuts. Soggy rugs, home furnishings, and insulation must all be discarded. Your home might appear barely livable to you, but it's a perfect environment for molds and fungi.
There are these organisms that can reside for a long time in these particular items, and also they just can't be sanitized. You know, the bugs are still there and can still grow there, so for those reasons they should be thrown out.
There's already been a run on cleaning products. Wipe and wash down all surfaces with chlorine bleach and dry the entire house as quickly as possible. Remember the saying, when in doubt, throw it out? Floodwaters carry disease from raw sewage. All food products that may have been exposed to the water must be discarded, and dishes and cooking utensils must be sterilized.
Basically everything we own is gone, from furniture to clothes to the floors were heaved, the basement's caving in, the walls are all warped, nothing is salvageable.
There's not enough hours in a day to do all the work.
Floodwaters receded weeks ago, but the devastation left behind is unbelievable. 3,000 homes are damaged, many beyond repair. The Moreau's family believes theirs is one of them.
How would you like to have 3 feet of slime on your place, on your floor, you know? We got it, and we got to live with it.
When the dike let go, the house was flooded within 5 minutes. The force of the water shifted it off its foundation and cracked the basement. Now the paint is peeling, mud is everywhere, and anything not pulled out in time is ruined.
Some days are harder than others.
Some days are. We take one day at a time.
And you're going to make it?
Oh yeah, we're not quitters.
Morris Moreau's plans to bulldoze the house and start over, but his savings were spent trying to prevent flooding in the first place. As for his livelihood, these greenhouses are a long way from producing an income, but Moreau's is hopeful for a late harvest.
You gotta take one day at a time.
What gets him most is when he hears people say the flood is over, because for him and his family, it's not, and it won't be for a very long time to come.
We're the 3rd and 4th generation over here, a lot of us, and we were sacrificed to save Winnipeg. The people in Winnipeg don't realize what we gave up to keep their feet dry.
Had to take this down to get the sand trucks in.
85-year-old Ernie Smith doesn't know where to start the cleanup. The river ran 5 feet deep through everything he owns. He doesn't even know if the house can be saved.
Yeah, they might write it off. Who knows?
I never thought it would happen like this.
Despite the floodway and all the flood prevention measures, the city of Winnipeg did suffer heavy damage. In many cases, it was the flood prevention measures that caused the damage.
Whenever we put an earth dike on a pavement, you have to key the dike into the pavement so that it won't leak or move. And to do that, we have to either scarify the pavement or cut a trench in the pavement or cut a trench alongside of the pavement in order to key in an earth dike.
Some damage was obvious, like the huge cracks in the pilings of the Provencher Bridge. But the high water was also hiding damage.
The riverbanks, the properties we've had to go through, the sidewalks that were dug up, the Provencher Bridge. So you can see it's going to take quite a while to assess the damage, and it's very far-reaching.
We have a tremendous sized sandbag dike on that bank there. You're aware that that riverbank is a very unstable riverbank. We cannot leave that dead load sitting on the bank while the water goes down, or the bank will begin to fail.
Claudia Dursko has spent weeks worrying about flooding, but now that the water is finally going down, the Scotia Street homeowner has something else to think about: what to do with the 800,000 pounds of sandbags on her property.
To be honest, we haven't thought of it because we've been just waiting. This is the first day really the water's gone down, and we're just sort of surviving because we're evacuated and everything, so we haven't worried about this kind of another disaster that we've got here right now.
For now, the military is helping. Water has receded just enough to allow soldiers to remove the top 2 feet of sandbags from the dike.
It's a relief to get anything removed that we can.
But the city says it's possible homeowners might also be enlisted to remove sandbags. Dismantling the dikes could be a little tougher than building them.
Those sandbags have been soaked in water, been rained on, been trampled on, they have been stamped into place. So it's quite a task, to get them out.
Dear Canadian soldier, my name is Robert Kaysen. I don't think that we can thank you enough for helping us build up the dikes.
All the hard work, the individual effort they put, the discipline, the sacrifices that they make to be a part of the military is just all worth it when you get one little piece of paper with a thank you from a student on it.
Hopefully that everybody
here in the city knows that we took great honor in coming out here.
I'd like to personally thank the people of the Notre Dame Community Center who took us into their homes and into their hearts.
This was supposed to be a routine withdrawal of grizzlies, bisons, and cougars. But it turned into an impromptu parade. Despite the rain, thousands of people lined the streets to cheer on soldiers, to wave flags, and to say thanks.
We came out because it's a very special day, and I'm trying to make some memories here for my little girl so she remembers all this, and we're so proud of the military.
I think they've done a super job. There's been a big sort of stain on their reputation because of the Somalia incidents, but I think, I think most of them are here to do a good job, and we're very proud of them.
The morale of our soldiers went up 100% because they knew that they were coming out here to help fellow Canadians. And the whole time they were here, they're putting in anywhere from 16 to 18-hour days. Long, hard work, but at the end of the day, coming back wet, cold, and muddy.
We get a lot of our bugs worked out, and the people were absolutely fantastic, and it was a super opportunity for us to actually do some work in Canada for a change, and let the people see what we actually do.
We have seen here over the last 2 weeks the tide of public opinion change. And again, the soldiers who wear the uniform of the Canadian Forces are the good guys.
This is our way of showing appreciation to the community of St. Vital. They've been very generous to us over the last week and a half since we've been here.
They're happy to be heading home, but before they go, they have one thing left to do. When many soldiers arrived in Manitoba, their first job was to lay down sandbags. Now their last will be to take them away.
After a good 10 days of work here, they are very happy. They work hard, but now it's almost over, so it's time for us, I think, to go.
I'd like to say thank you to all people from Manitoba because it's amazing how you can be friendly.
I was really impressed about that because it's my first mission.
They write friendly on your license plate, and now I know why.
There was a natural flow to drain that water out, and you guys wouldn't open it.
It's really pathetic when you cannot trust your government that you have to even pull out your furnace because you don't know if they are going to pay for that.
I could have got in my driveway, I could have put sand in there, I could have made more bags, and I could have built up my dike, but because of the advice I got from the government, I didn't do anything.
I lost my phone in Grand Point. When I saw the mailboxes gone, I asked, why are our mailboxes gone? Don't worry. You're okay. You built high. You're fine. You don't need to sandbag. Last words. And as the movie says, show me the money.
So many people here have lost their homes, they have lost everything. And the next issue is going to be compensation. And 80% of $100,000 for those that have lost money, that's not going to do it.
And then at the end of the day, we take the claim and assess it and award assistance. I want to stress the word assistance. Compensation is a word that's often used in different contexts. This is an assistance program.
Angry homeowners demanded answers from the province about compensation. When would it come? How much would it be? Premier Philman upped the limit to $100,000, then said something that is still ringing in the ears of many flood victims.
People who live on a floodplain, people who build on the edge of a river that's prone to flooding, also have to accept some personal responsibility.
Well, that's what hurts the most, is we've got to have responsibility building here, you know. So how I've been here all my life. You wasn't even born yet. You worked for this all your life, and in 3 weeks, it's gone, vanished.
Like in her
As
case,
if you never had anything.
In her case, she literally has to start from scratch.
Mudry has been out of home for 2 months now, and she still has no idea when she can rebuild or how much the government will pay. Her daughter Vancouver can't even afford the 20%.
She might. And that's maybe. And I think at 82 years old, I don't think she should have to.
Well, the house basically is shot, like the basement shifted and everything cracked up, floor heaved.
Chris Morose has no intention of repairing his home. He wants to rebuild on higher ground.
That's our main concern now, is build up high enough, never ever have to be in this situation again. I don't know if I can handle it as good as my dad did, like this, you know, if it happened again. Dad is 80 and he lost everything. I don't think I could handle that.
He's had a contractor assess the damage, but like most victims, Moreau's can't start rebuilding until the province hands out the compensation.
The fastest I've ever seen a house go up from foundation to completion is 4 to 6 weeks. Well, that's pretty a concern.
So Moreau's and countless other flood victims wait. While they wait, many people are accusing the Red Cross of not helping as many people as it should either. The agency says it's waiting for government too.
You have to remember, we're not the leader in this. The government is the leader, and they have hundreds of millions of dollars. We have 13 million in the gaps.
The Carlsons say they've been left hanging while politicians prolong the debate.
Pull up your head, boys, and just have a look at the people who on is normal. And make some decisions.
When Reno Tomasi got his award letter, he couldn't believe how little he qualifies for in compensation.
Totally upset. I freaked out on him yesterday on the phone. And
5 feet of water destroyed everything in his house, but the award letter says he qualifies for just $39,000.
Unreal.
Several contractors who've assessed the house all figure it will cost at least $70,000 just to repair the flood damage, and the compensation won't nearly cover Tomasi's personal possessions hauled off to the dump.
I was real disappointed because they said that they were going to issue your amount that you were going to be eligible for, $9,000, and I expected a lot more than that.
This is supposed to be John Gertson's retirement home, but an engineer has informed him this house is beyond economic repair.
All of this as well would have to be torn out. The inside.
Before the flood, an assessor valued the property at $90,000. Even so, Gertson's compensation letter says he'll get just a fraction to repair the structural damage.
I expected minimally $30,000, which would have been a joke, really. To receive $15,400 is unacceptable, totally unacceptable.
We're just being ignored. We've asked.
April Johnston is just outside Winnipeg city limits. Right now, her home is a camper just outside her own flood-ravaged house.
We even put down a deposit on a contractor because we don't have any money yet. We don't know what we're getting. We don't even know what we're doing.
That's tough to her 2 young children who don't understand what's going on.
And Braxton wants his toys, and he wants to know, where's Olivia? She doesn't do anything except she doesn't sleep anymore, so she just cries every night to midnight.
They're still trying to find a way to save the border that Johnston Ulrich lovingly had in his son's room. In the meantime, all they want is a little hope that help is on its way.
When can we see the money? When can we get started? We've been forgotten. We can't afford the 20% deductible. We're not getting the Red Cross assistance that was said that was going to come across to cover, help us.
People feel tremendously abandoned, isolated, and alone.
Frustration with the pace of flood relief has driven flood victims from a number of tiny communities together.
We have to organize ourselves as an effective group of people, the compensation packages and everything else.
They believe that individually their concerns are not being heard, and it's time to get loud.
And it's our feeling that 200 voices are 20 voices, and that 2,000 voices are more effective than 200. And we hope this is a process.
They came from Grand Point, from Red River Drive, and from other areas too. But no matter where their homes were, it was the same.
Our income is non-existent, more or less. We need some help, but everything seems to be wrong.
Their frustration wasn't aimed just at government. The Red singled out as well.
Like 300 to 400 people at work, and they've all donated to the Red Cross. And they're all saying, why aren't the people who are affected getting the money and the aid they need? What is wrong? Who is home? Where's this
Kent
money
Ulrich had 3 feet of water washed through his house. He summed up the mood of the crowd and the emotional drain this ordeal has been.
We all know what our homes are like. We all know the damage that exists, and we want to get on with lives. School's starting. My kids start school for the first time.
Our message is simple. The flood of the century is not over.
Most of the roughly 500 people did not come to the rallies. They came from trailers, from rented apartments. Man even came on a 4-hour pass from hospital.
Every day I sit in my hospital bed and I read the papers. I became more and more angry.
Rita Bartmanovich spent the afternoon up what's left of her greenhouse business, but she's tired. The flood washed away decades of preparation for a retirement she and her husband thought would be soon.
We were ready for the Mother's Day market. Friday, May 2nd, the water came over the top of the dike from the west side, not the river side.
Matthew Goyer just graduated from high school, but he spoke with the poise and perspective of a young man who's also learned a hard lesson from life.
I'm only a child. My friends go home and watch TV as my family tries to rebuild our shattered dreams. Stress, anger, and frustration eat me alive as I read and hear about our government's lack of cooperation.
Government Services Minister Frank Pachura told the crowd what they already knew. Since the flood, the province has tripled the claim allowance to 100,000, but that wasn't enough.
We will emerge stronger as a people and as a province. Thank you.
We have a couple of volunteers that have come up from Edmonton and from Ottawa, and they have committed themselves to come here for a couple of weeks.
People are really missing those necessities, things that they can call their own, something other than hotel shampoo or your aunt's something.
Everybody wants a cleaning kit, that's the big thing.
We are talking about thousands and thousands of tons of product. It's just been phenomenal. Little things that may not seem like much, hardly the first thing you're going to grab when you're heading out the door when you've been evacuated. So these are important things to give back to people to help them get started on reclaiming their homes.
I managed to pack one big bag of clothes for the kids and for the family.
All the comforts of home Carol Boychuk had time to grab when she was evacuated from her acreage near St. Adolphe. She needs clothes for her 2 boys, cleaning supplies for her swamp, and milk for her hungry family. She finds it here, Salvation Army Distribution Center.
It's amazing how well people are reacting to the needs of the other people.
Some gave money, while others gave something just as valuable, their time.
I've had people here from absolutely every single province and territory in the country. It's been phenomenal.
Merle Doherty is a policeman from Edmonton, but for the past 2 months he's been collaring volunteers, not criminals. The city of Edmonton gave him a 2-month paid leave so he could coordinate relief efforts for the time is up. The king's office is empty and volunteers are heading home.
The Manitoba Disaster Service people was for 4 weeks for 200 people.
But help is still needed. Flood victims have weeks of work ahead of them, and one of the many groups still around is the Salvation Army. Every day they go door to door, bringing food and cleaning supplies to volunteers.
To bring encouragement to the crews that are volunteering and assisting with the cleanup.
Sandra Richaud and her husband Norbert have lives on while they wait for compensation. Then, out of the blue, the Lions Club phoned and asked if $1,000 would help tide them over.
I didn't expect something so it was weird that it was a godsend. You need something right now, you can wait.
After delivering the Lions got a first-hand look at what the Richaud of seeing, the remains of the home they finished renovating.
I'm just astonished at the extent of the devastation.
The young couple says this unexpected generosity has given them to rebuild their ashes of the flood's devastation.
And it's been wonderful. Everybody's been really, really nice.
Down the road at a different house, the story is the same.
Yes, it makes a really big difference. I think it gives everybody a look here. We're all sort of stuck in the same financial situation, and a lot of people are hurting. It's very, very needed and very appreciated.
Tessa Loren's home is a beehive of volunteers, including kinsmen and Mennonite disaster assistants. The Lions say that's what Service Club.
Our aim is to provide some relief, some comfort, sort of bridge the cost until government finalized.
Isn't this fantastic?
Even at the height of the devastation and the rebuilding, there were some lighter moments.
Some beautiful moments, really, to smile, even laugh.
And that was exactly what we needed sometimes.
I didn't think it was going to be that bad. In fact, I wasn't even going to move anything out of the basement, but
I guess I should listen to my wife.
I would never take the wheels out from underneath it, because as soon as I saw the water coming down from there, I'd be so long gone I'd be up to the North Pole. Yeah, I was sleeping with the Eskimos, and then I wouldn't get flooded.
The only thing I want is a manicure.
You're never going to get your feet wet again, right?
Yeah, I'm never going to have wet feet unless I'm in a bathtub.
What's left of your home?
Well, you know, the stretcher story here. I get all kinds of jokes from my friends about what a lousy housekeeper I've suddenly become.
I've got something to keep from. I was never so famous before.
Last year I lost over $20,000. So this year is going to be that. So, you know, but be will be. The good Lord says I'm to get wet, I'm going to get that understood.
You know, it'll take years before the people in the Red River Valley are really back to normal. Their lives have been changed forever by the water that came and by the flood of humanity that rose up to meet it.
We really did learn some very hard lessons. But the biggest lesson we learned is when a crisis happens, we can depend on neighbors to help.